Everyone, so today I'm going to do some massage ball work around the hip region. A couple of weeks ago we talked about massage ball work with doing some foot release stuff. So again, you can use a tennis ball. These are some spiky soft massage balls. Avoid the hard ones for a lot of this massage work. They're too uncomfortable. You can also get soft trigger point release balls. Any of those will do the job. But yeah, you can try a tennis ball if you've got one. The squash balls might be a little bit too small for this. They're good for the footwork and some maybe small focal stuff. But when it comes into bigger muscles around the backside, probably something slightly bigger. Lacrosse ball would also do the job. So we're going to do a bit of release work through the deep buttock muscle, the piriformis muscle, that also gets tight and knotty, associated with back pain and for other reasons as well. But you can seek around in the backside and do gluteal muscle trigger point release work. So whether it's the big one, the gluteus maximus, or the ones to the side, the gluteus medius in particular, can get quite knotty for us horse riders. We're also going to then have a little look at the top of hamstrings, the hamstring kind of insertional trigger points, or if you get discomfort and issues right at the top of the hamstrings, if you're a runner, for example. Also with you runners, we can get quite tight in the top of the Tensor Fascia Lata muscle, this tiny little muscle that then blends and becomes the iliotibial band, the ITB. So there can be some kind of sweet spot, tight, knotty spots around there. That muscle can also just get knotty even if you're not running, just from a lot of time in sitting, it can get shortened. So we'll move our way around there. I've got a bigger massage ball here, which sometimes can be nice for some of the gluteal work. So to do piriformis and into the glutes, you can do it in sitting. You just tuck the ball underneath your backside. You can also even try this on a chair if you want to do it, kind of break up the office routine. And if you're in this position, you can actually use transfer of your body weight around to find those knotty spots. You can also think about your position with your knees, because if you bring your knees more over on top and loading over that ball, you'll actually kind of bring up the pressure on that trigger point to help with a bit of a stronger release through there. But again, if you're quite knotty and quite sore and sensitive, you can actually use your knees off in the other direction to take the load off if you're wanting to give it a bit more of a gentle work through. Now that muscle runs diagonally through there. So if you find it easier, you can actually go down into lying, same position, it's kind of on the left buttock, and you can roll around to try and work right the way through the length of that muscle. And you can actually roll back and forth along the fibre direction of that muscle, and even up and down if you want to go across it. And then every now and again you might find you come across a definite ow spot, which will be a trigger point in that muscle, and you might just want to hold it there and just try and relax and let that muscle give and release. Imagine it can soften and melt over that trigger point. If it's too intense, again, just remember to use things like your knee position to take the load off it a little bit so it's bearable. And so you don't want to be holding it to try and encourage a release if it's really very sore, because those muscles will want to actually fight against that discomfort. Okay, so that's kind of through piriformis and the gluteal muscles. Into hamstrings. So your hamstrings attach right up onto your seat bone there. So just tuck the ball just in front, or kind of just under that seat bone, and you can do exactly the same thing, rolling around trying to find your sore spot. And again, with this one, you can actually use position of your body weight. So I've now moved myself forward to get more of a stronger release, and then I'm actually getting a bit of a kind of a release and stretch position through here. Again, if you get back pain, just check that you're nice and tall through your back, or you're engaging those deep tummy muscles to try and help stabilize you through there. So that's a nice one to get into the top of hamstrings. Tensor Fascia Lata, this tiny little muscle, sits on top of the pelvis, just in that region. So there are two positions I try for this. If we swap over and do my right side for the camera, you can actually lie straight down, and you're tucking it just there in front, just kind of from the top of the pelvis, you just go down to the squidgy bit of muscle. But I find, unless you're very, very tight, that actually doesn't quite get it. You seem to often need to roll over a little bit to really get the load down on it. So for the same reason, you can do it in side line. So I'll swap back to this side again. So you tuck it just in front of this hip bone, and you're down from the top of the pelvis, so you're in this region, but obviously on this side because I'm wanting to squash the ball. And that, to me, sometimes actually gets in a little bit better. And so you can be in this position, roll around, find your trigger point, and then that's where you want to relax and give in and try and melt over that trigger point. Okay, so next week I thought I'd do some more ball work, especially if you've gone ahead and purchased yourself a ball. And next week we're going to work all the way around the shoulder region, because of course there's a lot of tension that sometimes is quite difficult for us to release off around there. So that's next week's plan. Okay, good luck with this week. Bye.